Finally back in the shop after a much needed 3-day weekend. Y'all, I needed some rest. One thing I've actively been trying to work on doing better with is not allowing myself to be pushed past my limits. I need rest. I have to recuperate, and I know with what I do that I'm heavily needed in the community, but I also have to take care of myself first. If I don't put my best foot forward, if I don't heal, if I don't rest, if I don't do the things that I need to do to be coming forth wholehearted, whole spirit, whole everything, there's no way that I can truly give the best guidance, the best service, the best education, the best anything, the best parts of me to the community. So therefore, I will be taking my breaks as needed. But just know, I still love you guys, but I gotta rest too. What's good in the YouTube hood? It's your girl Luna Nova, and I'm back with another one for y'all today. So tell me this, what would you do if the ghost at work clocked in before you did? Or if the one in your home never left? And what about the ones people summon on purpose? Tonight we're gonna go ahead and explore some creepy stories that are gonna make you question just how far or close the other side really is. Now tonight we're diving into those kinds of stories that make your skin crawl. From haunted workplaces to ghostly visits at home. And even some of those brave or foolish souls that decide to summon spirits themselves. So go ahead and grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's settle in. And only press play if you dare.
Okay, I'm sorry. Work has been crazy. I will tell you guys my scary ghost story now. I tried to record this. It got way too long, so I'm gonna try. Okay, I grew up in Washington. My other set of parents, my father and stepmom, live outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. So I would go stay with them like once or twice a year, let's say. This particular time, they had just moved to a new house, and I was very excited because their last house was a dark place. Scary. I have stories about that house that I will not share here, but let's just say that I was super relieved that they were not there anymore. I was excited. So picture it, summer, 17, I'm going to stay with my other family. I'm like, oh, creepy things won't happen anymore, that's great. Little did I know. Okay, quick layout. Bottom floor, all the living area, set of stairs, very small landing, and all the bedrooms are clustered around this landing. On this particular night, everyone goes to bed before me, let's say at like 10. Parents in one room with my baby brother, my other little brother who's like 12 at the time in the other room, and then the nursery, which is where I'm sleeping. Okay, so it's like midnight, I'm awake, I'm 17, I'm reading a book. I had just gone to the bathroom, so I knew for a fact everyone was upstairs because they all sleep with their doors open. The landing is super small, so I saw all of them a moment ago. They were all fully asleep in their beds. So I'm minding my own business, reading, and from the bottom of the stairs, I hear something. And it's footsteps on the stairs. And it sounded like a little kid almost, like, you know how little kids just like kind of barrel up and down the stairs, like do 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 do. Yeah. Stops at the top of the stairs. I'm like, what the is this? I hear it go back down. Do 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 do. This continues to happen. I hear it multiple times. Do 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 do. My grandma was very spooky and kooky, and she always told me if anything paranormal happened to ignore it, because if you pay attention, you'll like feed into the energy and it will get more aggressive and stronger or something. So this is in my head and I'm like, I'm ignoring this. Nothing's happening. Everything's fine. And again, stuff had happened at their last house and I was just like, not again. So I'm ignoring it because it's gonna stop, right? At this point I have like a headphone in, volume very low, pretending I'm not listening to the running up and down the stairs. I hear it come back up. Do, 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 do. It stops. Stops for a few minutes. I'm like, okay, maybe it's done. Let's say 5 minutes passed after this thing had stopped at the top of the stairs. Again, the landing is small, so let's say hypothetically, wherever this thing stopped is like 3 feet from my closed door. After a few minutes, I'm sure everything is all good. I kind of relax and I'm still reading my book, and then suddenly it was like a full-grown man, like a 6 foot tall man, took both of his fists and slammed it way harder than that. Slammed it against the door of the room I was sleeping in. The door shook. I jump up. If there's fight and flight, there's also freeze. And I fucking froze. I was so scared. But again, my grandma's wisdom, I'm like, I have to ignore it. Nothing happened. 2 minutes later, again, harder. And the vibe was genuinely like, don't ignore me. That was like the vibe I got from the second slam. A couple minutes go by, I haven't moved. But I'm like, what do I do? I decide to take action. I take my blanket, wrap it around my body for protection. Flip on my bedroom light. I swing open the door to meet my fate. The landing is empty. Everyone is sleeping, obviously. I flip on the hallway light, flip off my light. Flip on my brother's light, flip off the hallway light. Close his door, shake him half awake, and I'm like, scoot over, I'm sleeping in here. I'm 17, he's 12. We haven't shared a bed in several years, but that's how scared I was. It is summer in Nevada, and I literally have the covers over my face like this, and I'm like breathing in my own carbon dioxide, but I was like, I have to have the covers over my face. After like 15 minutes on his door, again, softer, but kind of like a, I know you're still in there. I was like, thank God I'm going home tomorrow. Anyway, this started happening to them after I left. This would happen on my brother's door, the slamming. From downstairs, they would also start hearing like muffled arguments at the landing, like voices fighting. Anyway, they moved out of that house as quickly as possible because it was super scary. I don't know if this was like an actual ghost. I don't know if this was like residual energy from like a bad DV type of thing going on in that house previously, but I did not like it. And yeah, that's it. Sorry, this was super long.
Spooky story time. Okay, so this story takes place back in like 2009, 2010, when my mom, my 3 siblings, and I took a vacation to Panama. Now, a couple of things that are important to note here was that my youngest brother was a couple of months old, maybe like between 6 to 8 months old, and he was a tad bit delayed with like motor skills, so there was really no way for him to move himself around anywhere because he couldn't even crawl yet. Another thing is that houses in Panama have like these bars on their window, and then the roofs are almost always like a metal type roof. Hold on, let me give you a visual. So these are like the traditional windows in a Panamanian house. I don't know why they have bars, don't ask me, no clue. And until this day, a lot of the roofing is like this. It's just the metal stuff. You can hear everything. It is so loud. Like even when it rains, it's just like you might as well just have a monsoon bitch because these are so damn loud. So just like a lot of countries, Panama has a lot of lore around witches. And 2 of the things is that they whistle when they're around. And the other thing is that the lore there is that they suck the blood from children, especially infants, through like their belly buttons. I don't know how that works. That's just the lore over there. So on this particular day, my cousins and I had gone to like this little store nearby. I think a corner store, just a small store with a bunch of little random shit. And we had left the house pretty late. So by the time that we started coming home, it was already getting pretty dark. As we're getting close to like our little plot of land, because it's like my grandma's little plot of land where there's a bunch of houses, as we're getting close to home, we start hearing branches rustling, and then we started hearing whistling. Okay, so I'm just like standing around like freaked the fuck out because I left Panama when I was 4, so I'm not used to this. I'm like freaked out, like and my cousins are just like, oh yeah, like that's the witch, it's okay, we just gotta get home. And I was like, bitch, the fuck you mean just a witch? Like so casual. Oh, it's just a witch, we just gotta get home. What? And we hurry our asses home, and I tell my mom, I'm like, Mom, we heard this whistling and all this rustling and blah blah blah. And she's like, oh yeah, that's the witch, like it's a good thing you guys got home, did you see it or something? I was like, no, the fuck, I didn't see it, bitch, the fuck. All the adults, everybody was chilling outside at my grandpa's like back porch, and everybody went home and we started getting ready for bed. Now the room we're staying in is a pretty big room. There's like bunk beds and like separate beds. All in all, we all had our own separate space, except my baby brother who was sleeping with my mom at the time. And then right across the hall there was a bathroom with indoor plumbing. That was exciting. So there was a bathroom, and everybody got their own space. I get woken up in the middle of the night because I hear something that sounds like little footsteps on the metal roof. They don't sound particularly heavy. They just sound like, footsteps. And I'm freaked out. I'm like, okay, what the fuck, you know? But I'm like, we're in Panama. There's monkeys and all sorts of, you know, wildlife, whatever. I went to the restroom and then I came back inside the room and everyone was still in their beds. Everything was good, bitch. So I got my ass back in bed. The next morning, I'm woken up like, you know, they're shaking me awake. I'm like, bitch, the fuck? And I'm like, what is going on? They're like staring at each other like, did you move your brother? And I was like, no. And then they're like freaking out. They're like, did you move him? Did you move him? Did you move him? Everyone's like, no. And then I look towards the window and there's this tiny little bundle that my mom is like leaning over, and it's my little brother. He was just casually just laying there by the window. So everyone's like, so who the fuck moved the baby? And we're like, I don't fucking know, but it wasn't me. So then that's when I tell them, I'm like, oh, I woke up in the middle of the night because I kept hearing footsteps like on the roof. And you know, I checked on everybody. Everyone was in bed, and I went back to sleep. And they're like, oh my God, like they're freaking out. They're like, oh shit, she tried to take him. So everyone's like freaking out. And then we had to like go out and get my brother like a bracelet and like a cross and all sorts of shit that we had blessed, because everyone was like panicking at that point because they're like, oh my God, like this infant, like he's gonna get taken. And again, there's no way for him to have moved himself. No way for him to like have gotten off the bed and like crawled to right underneath where this window was. Yeah, so my brother almost got taken that night. Thank you. See you next time.
Snapchat memories just reminded me that one of the scariest ghost encounters I've ever had happened a year ago today. My boyfriend works at the college campus here, and this particular night he happened to be in the oldest building on campus that was built in 1899. He had finished his tasks. We were on FaceTime. He went up to the second floor after turning off all of the lights and closing all of the office doors to chill until his shift was over. He's sitting in a classroom when he hears someone walking down the hallway, so he goes out to investigate to make sure nobody broke into the building. And of course, there's no one there. He keeps hearing it. He hears it for 30 minutes straight, and I'm having a normal conversation with him, and he's just staring at the hallway because it does not stop. About 30 minutes in, I hear what he's hearing, and it sounds like heavy boots marching down the hallway. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, why are you not more scared? So as he's sitting there staring at the hallway, tears start running down his face. And he's like, I'm not crying. I don't know what is wrong with me, but tears are just falling. I have had 2 ghost encounters where that has happened to me. It's just the fear and like the evil energy that just makes your body react that way. If you know, you know. It's crazy. So I'm like, okay, you need to go wait in your truck for the rest of your shift. He goes into the hallway. Every single light in the building is on, and he had just turned all of them off. And the office door that he had came from is open after he just closed it. You need to get out of there. So he walks by the light panel at the top of the stairs, turns all the lights off again, and walks down the first flight of stairs. When he gets to the bottom of the first flight, all of the lights go back on. The TV is going off and on, okay? I'm like, just leave the lights. Like, you need to get out of there. And he's like, no, I'm going to get in trouble. And I'm like, they keep turning back on. There's nothing you can do. So at this point, he's like talking about how scared he is. And he gets to the top of the other set of stairs and he's like, I can't move. At this point, I am praying out loud, being like, we belong to Jesus. We mean no harm. We are safe. We are protected. And everything that Kevin is telling me, I'm just praying over him. Like nonstop, no gaps. I'm not responding to anything he's saying. So then he starts panicking because his legs won't move. So I'm like still praying with all my heart. And he's like, and of course I'm freaking out, but I do not stop praying. I do not break that prayer. So then finally he's able to go down the stairs. He literally runs out of the building and he turns around and looks at it and shows me on camera every single light, all 3 floors are turned on, including the basement. So I'm like, I don't know, just tell your boss that you shut off the lights multiple times and they keep going back on. So he gets to his truck and he shows me his arms and legs and he has like permanent goosebumps for hours. I have never seen him that scared, and he's a person that doesn't really believe in this stuff that much. Like, we saw a ghost in his permanent building like 6 months prior, and we weren't scared at all. We were in the basement of his regular building, and this ghost just like walked by us and then like ran away. And we were both just like, haha, that was crazy. But the evil presence that I could feel through the FaceTime screen
was one of the scariest things I have ever encountered.
Deliveries, especially late night, maybe don't watch this video because this is the story from the scariest DoorDash delivery that a driver ever made late night. It came from someone named Abby who says that she and her girlfriend have been doing DoorDash for a while to make extra money, and usually they do late nights and weekends. They're in South Louisiana, and recently they've been doing a lot of deliveries in the Lafayette area because it's a higher number of orders and it's usually a higher payout. She said when they go out, they have a set amount in their heads that they want to make, and they'll stay out until they make that amount. And so sometimes they've been to some sketch places because they'll just take any order in order to meet that goal. Well, this past Saturday, they were out driving around pretty late. It was around midnight, and there weren't a lot of orders coming in. So they just decided they were going to turn around and go home, and they live about an hour away. They turn around, they're driving for about 5-10 minutes, and their phone pings, and they get an order for $16, which is, I guess, significantly higher than what they've been doing that night. So they decide to accept the order, just do one more because it'll put them over their goal. So they turn around in this parking lot, and as they're turning around this parking lot, this man runs out of the bush and is like screaming at their car. So that's weird in itself. The vibe is already off for the night. But she said, we just thought, we were in a sketch area. We drove off, didn't think too much about it. Pick up the food. When they get to the restaurant, Abby goes in to get the food, and her girlfriend stays in the parking lot. When Abby comes out, her girlfriend's like, okay, we have to go because there's another strange man acting crazy in the parking lot. And they're just like, what is going on tonight? Like, is it a full moon? But they're just like, we'll get this food, we'll deliver it, and then we'll go home. So they start driving, they get the address, and it's taking them to Highway 167 out of Lafayette into the next town over, Maurice. And she said that's like a long and isolated stretch, but she's driven through parts of it before. But they're driving for about 15 minutes, and it has them turn off on this road. And as soon as they turn on the road, it's very isolated. It's up a small hill, and she just thinks, like, where are we going? To paint the picture for you, she said this road was basically very dark, no streetlights, and on both sides were overgrown cane fields with just abandoned houses scattered around. And Abby starts to have this bad feeling of anxiety, and she just doesn't feel right about this. She doesn't like it. She's like, I don't know where we're going. It doesn't even look like anybody lives out here, but her girlfriend's driving. She doesn't want to freak out her girlfriend, so she's just like, we'll get this over, we'll go home. So she's like, where is this house? And her girlfriend's like, oh, it says it's another 10 minutes down. And they look at the name, and it's very generic. It just says JB. And as they're continuing down this road, her feeling of anxiety and this just overwhelming sense of dread is like consuming her, and she's freaking out. They finally make another turn. They get to the house, and it looks completely abandoned, like overgrown, porch collapsed in, doesn't look like anyone's been there in years. The driveway is just this long stretch of like dirt path. It's not even paved over. And they just are like, okay, let's just leave the food on the porch and get out of here. As they're grabbing the food and getting out of the car, they get a message from the customer saying they have the wrong address. So Abby's like, I don't like this. We have to leave. And her girlfriend's like, okay, well, let's just call. So they put the phone on speaker and they call, and a man picks up, and there's just dead silence on the line for a second before a robotic voice picks up and says, no, you're where you need to be. She said it was calculated. It was cold. It almost sounded mechanical. And so they're like, well, we just got a message saying that we were at the wrong address. And he says, no, you're where you need to be. That was my daughter. He just starts repeating, you're where you need to be. You're where you need to be. So they get freaked out. She's like, let's just leave the food on the porch. So she throws the food on the porch. She didn't say she threw the food on the porch. She probably placed it gingerly on the porch, but they hop back in the car and they peel out of there. Her girlfriend's driving. She's peeling down this long, isolated road back toward the highway when they get another message from the man. Pause to say, I don't know how DoorDash works, but I used to do Postmates like a long time ago. And when you dropped off a food order, you had like a minute or two where you could still message the customer. So I'm assuming that's what happened here after they dropped off the food. But they get a message. And the message from the customer said, bad gur, like spelled G-U-R. Abby's like, this is so weird. So she shows her girlfriend, and as she's showing her girlfriend, headlights pop up behind them on this isolated road. So they speed up a little bit, and the headlights match their pace. This car is tailgating them out of there, and every time they speed up, the car speeds up behind them. This chase is going on for a few minutes. She said there was another lane, like they could have passed if they wanted to, but they just both had this gut feeling that this person behind them had ill intent and was out to hurt them. Luckily, another car came in the opposite direction and passed, and when that car passed, the car behind them slowed down. As soon as that car passed, they get on the highway, and she said that car followed them onto the highway, even though it was following at a slower pace. It kept changing lanes to follow them, and at the first light, it turned around to head back in the direction where it came. After it happened, they were so freaked out. Abby's girlfriend kept saying, can you check the trunk? Like, I feel like something's in the car with us. She said it was probably just our nerves that were so fried that left us with that feeling that something else was in the car. But I feel like something really bad was going to happen to us, and the universe or God stepped in to save us. I thought the ending of her email was interesting because she said that she believes that due to their already heightened state of fear to seeing the men that were running around the parking lots prior to accepting that delivery left them in a vulnerable spiritual state and left them open to whatever happened to them. She also said, interestingly enough, that they later looked up the address that the daughter sent, claiming that the first house wasn't the right address and that address didn't exist. I don't know, y'all. If you get food deliveries late at night, tip your drivers because these people go through way too much. If you have a spooky, scary story, I would love to read it. I try to post a new one almost every single day.
Do Ouija boards actually work? Yesterday, I did a Ouija board because I wanted to channel my brother. And when he passed, he wrote on a letter saying he wanted to communicate through the Ouija board. So obviously I was like, you know what, gotta get a Ouija board. I never wanted to do it in the first place because like him and I were always scared of it. But then when he put that, I was like, yeah, obviously I should do a Ouija board. The first time I did it, I didn't know my partner his middle name at the time, right? And he had asked, hey, what's my middle name? Like, can you spell it out so we know that it's you? He wasn't even touching it, I don't think. It spelled out his middle name perfectly, and I didn't know what it was, so I kept looking at him for confirmation. And like as each letter passed, his eyes just widened more and more and more. Yesterday, I had done it again, and I asked him to spell out the name of one of his favorite voice actors. Again, he spelled it out, and then I looked up at him. I barely was touching it. I'm telling you guys, I was barely touching it. I looked up at him, and he was like, is that right? Like, I don't know who it is that right? And I was like, yeah, that's right. He had asked, hey, like, what did me and you do after Kaya left for work usually? It literally spelled out Smash, because they were playing Smash Bros. But every single time I did it, I had like more and more of a reason to believe that it was actually like authentic. And yeah, while it could be spirits messing with me, I just don't see what they would gain out of pretending to be my brother. We asked the questions about our future and stuff like that. We asked like if he missed me, if like, you know, if he wishes things were different, if he regrets, you know, the thing that happened. And it's honestly really comforting. I'd say like the whole reason I keep doing it in the first place is because it's comforting. And when I think like I just want to talk to him again, I just want to see him again, it really helps me like visualize like he's on a different plane of existence, controlling the planchette with us, and that just makes it so much more magical, I guess.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Oh, this is the TikTok for me. You want a real ghost story? A really good one? I got you. So I've mentioned this on here before, but I'm a professional tour guide, among other things. And one of the tours that I've been doing for the last 15, almost 16 years now is one of the older ghost tours of Philadelphia. Pretty well established company. I've been there for a very long time. I can't even tell you how many of these tours I've given. And I've seen some shit at work. Let me tell you one of my favorite things that ever happened. So there is a place in Philadelphia. It's called Washington Square Park, and it is not a park. It's at 7th and Walnut Street, kind of takes up a whole city block. It's beautiful. I mean, it is a park. It's got fountains. You can go there to walk your dog. Tank loves it. He's behind me. But that's not it. Washington Square Park is a mass burial ground. It was opened and closed and reopened what feels like a million times through the city's history. And there are people there who are dead from all sorts of different things, right? It's entirely unknown. It was used as a potter's field for a really long time. It was a place where people who died during the Revolutionary War are buried. There's a monument to that there. People who died of yellow fever in 1793, smallpox, people who were segregated out of other churchyards. There's a lot happening in there. It was also a site where a lot of the grave robbing that started American medicine happened. Like Philadelphia is called the birthplace of American medicine for a reason. And things like the standardized autopsy were largely done with bodies from the square. I could get into more about that, but we can talk about it later. Anyway, 6 or so years ago, I have a regular tour. It's not a school group or anything. It's just a public tour people buy tickets for. You show up in a garden and we tell you stuff about dead people, right? So I'm doing this tour and I'm in Washington Square. I'm talking about the grave robber. I'm talking about the night market, as it was called. And in my group, I've got this group from New York City, like a family of 3. It's a mom, like a teenage daughter, and a girl who's like 4 or 5 years old. Kind of too young for this tour content, but you know, she was rocking with us, so I'm gonna rock with her too. Anyway, I'm talking about the night market. It's dark, it's like right before Halloween. And out of my left ear, as I'm telling the story, I hear this little girl go, "Okay," just like that. She hauls ass, runs down one of the like paved walkways in the park, right? I pretend I didn't see it because I'm at work. Of course I saw it, but I'm kind of like half watching it like this while I'm continuing to talk. We're all kind of doing that, like the rest of the group is too. Mom runs over, grabs her, right? So I finish up. I'm getting ready to leave. I take the group down the opposite walkway to go to the next stop on the tour. And all I can hear behind me, the family's directly behind me, the rest of the group is behind them. All I can hear behind me is this mom losing her shit. She's saying things to her daughter like, oh my God, this is a strange city. What if somebody took you? Where would I look? Whatever. She's just scared. I get it. The little girl from right behind me, talking to her mom, stomps her foot and then says, you don't see him? He's right there. There was nobody there. We watched this girl run down this walkway, get behind a bench, laugh, and play like she was playing hide and seek with an invisible person, by the way. There was nobody near her the entire time she was down there. I stopped, the rest of the group stopped, her mom stopped. We're all staring at this kid. It is so awkward. What do you say to that, right? Nobody says anything. A couple seconds go by. Lady from the group, another random stranger, walks up to this child and she gets down at like eye level with her and she says, Sugar, what are you talking about? Ain't nobody there but you. We all looked. You were alone. The little girl looks up at this lady with the most innocent face. The kind of face that you can tell a little kid's not lying, you know what I mean? So she looks right in this lady's eyes and says, no, he's right there. He has yellow hair and a blue jacket and he has the buttons. And he said he was looking for his sister, but he can't find his sister. So we played and he's my friend. I looked again. There was nobody there. There was never anyone there. The group was wigged, but it gets worse. What I didn't tell them that night was when this little girl ran down that walkway, kind of facing the Walnut Street side if you're from Philly, that one ran down that walkway. Halfway down that walkway, if you look up the different types of people and causes of death, like you look up the history of who's buried in that park, it's never individual names, by the way. It's just kind of categories of what happened. If you look that up, where this little girl stopped is all kids under 10 that died of yellow fever in 1793. The little boy wanted to play, and now they're friends. Wigs people the fuck out every time I talk about it, and I still think it's the most amusing thing in the world.
Picture this. It's about 2008, 2009. My grandma moved to this new house in Compton. There's about 2 units on the property. My grandma stays in the front, and there's this lady who stays in the back that goes by the name of Diane. One thing Diane would always make note and let us know and say, she said her family members died in the house that my grandma moved into, and that they sprinkled the fucking ashes on the roses. There were beautiful roses in the front. I honestly believe every word she said. Fast forward to this one night in particular, my grandma decides she wants to go to the house. My mom has to go to work, so she decides to drop me, my brother, and my grandma off at the house. We go the whole day, we're doing our thing, no problems beside, cool. You know, one thing I will know, like, we would play outside throughout the day, and there was this long driveway, but there was like this little strip of like building or like house in between the 2 units that like kind of connected, that was always constantly locked and gated, and there was just like a whole bunch of random things in there I never truly could see in there, but I could see the outlines of things, and it gave like a weird vibe, and like it had like this weird energy. Cool. I never really thought much of it as a kid. I was just like, let me stay my black ass away from that. So nighttime falls, whatever, we're in the house. At this point, we're all tired. My grandma's like, we're gonna go to bed. We're all gonna sleep in the bed together. My grandma's laying upright and my brother's laying upright. They're laying towards the headboard and I'm gonna lay at the end of the bed. Cool. So I get up, or I'm going to go turn off the light or whatever. Something tells me to look over to the right, like towards the closet. So I'm sitting here, I'm doing my thing. I turn off the light, but I'm looking at the closet. In that moment that I flick that light switch, like in between like the lights going out and like the darkness, I'm literally looking over, like there's this black man. He has a gray beard. He has gray hair. I want to say it was thinning, like kind of bald near the top. And he kind of had like I want to say like a braid back here. But just like, it wasn't honestly that shocking. So I calmly look over at my grandma. I'm like, who's that man? My grandma gonna have the nurse look at me. She's like, who the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, the man that was just standing by the closet. Like, y'all didn't just see the man in the green sweater standing by the closet. Mind you, it's that clear to me. I see this man has on a green sweater. He has a beard. I see his facial features. I see he's a black man. I'm like, this is strange. So I'm sitting here. At this point, my brother's kind of spooked. My grandma, she a little shaken up, but she's trying to keep it pee. But I can see, I'm like, you're moved, okay. So I guess she ends up calling my mom or whatever. She calls my mom. My mom drives all the way from Hollywood down to Compton. My mom comes to Compton. First thing she does when she gets there, she gets us all together. She starts reading the Bible. Like, okay. Mind you, as a kid, I'm just like, I just saw some spooky shit. Like, it's time to go. We need to leave. But, like, looking back, I'm like, okay, maybe she really did need to, read a Bible verse or two, really to lock it down. Because I'm like, honestly, I did not see anything else that night myself. But my brother did claim to have seen something run past the door of the room he was in during the day. Once again, I didn't see that, but I was like, this is strange. Like, two things one night, I'm like, But another thing I want to add is that, like, when I did see that man standing by the closet, I didn't feel any type of malice. I wasn't really scared. I wasn't really spooked any type of way. But it just kind of was like, this man was here and he revealed himself to me, and I'm just like, okay, there goes the man. Like, but yeah, I'm like, that's my fucking story time on, like, how I saw this ghost in the hood at my grandma's house. And, like, for some reason, I don't know why everybody see ghosts at their grandma's house. What the fuck is going on? I'm like, this is some spooky shit. Also, I do have another story time on some other shit that happened to me at said house. Let me know. Let me know if y'all need that. I'm probably gonna drop it anyway. I never give a fuck.
You guys are not gonna believe what fucking happened this morning. Holy shit. So, I work at a hospital, right? And I'm here at 2:30 in the morning. And it's me and another lady that are always here at 2:30 in the morning. So, I'm doing my regular thing. So, I'm breaking down the boxes. I'm getting everything ready before everybody comes into work. While I'm doing all this, mind you, I'm really sleepy. I am dead tired. I am just like, I want to go to bed. I'm so tired. So, I'm setting everything up. And then I hear my coworker. She's a sweet little lady, right? She says my name. She's like, Jerry, ¿me puedes ayudar aquí, mijo? Like, mind you, in English, it's like, hey, can you come over here and help me? Like, it's really hard. So then I was like, yeah, I'll be there right now. But, like, I was tripping out because, like, I hear her voice down the hall where the dish machine's at. And I was like, what are you doing over there? I'm only tripping out because, like, I never see her over there. So I'm just like, oh, maybe she want to go get something, right? And so before I go, I tell her, like, hold on, I'm getting this finished. And she keeps calling me and asking me to come and help her. And I was like, why is she being so hesitant? So mind you, I am walking to where I hear her. And then I have this sudden memory of, like, wait, she's on vacation. So I stopped halfway going to the dish machine. I was like, oh, no. So I ignored it. I was like, maybe it's just in my head. Maybe. And never mind. Let me just continue what I was doing, right? And then I go into this office where I had to get the keys to open up all the locks and all the fridges and everything. So I go and grab the keys. From the corner of my eye, I see a lady standing by the fucking door. And she was just staring at me. And I was just frozen, just holding the keys, looking down, telling myself, like, well, this is it. Like, I don't know what's going on, but this is it. Holy shit. And then, like, I just closed my eyes, took a deep breath, turned. There was nothing there. And I was like, oh, God. That was scary. But if anything like that has ever happened to you guys, please comment. Talk to me about it. Like, I want to know. I want to see if I'm not the only crazy one here. All right, thanks, guys. Later.
Well, that is it for tonight's ghost stories. From ghosts that linger to the ones we accidentally invite in. So let me ask you, which story spooked you out the most? One of the woman who's the tour guide? I think that story was the most compelling of all of the ones that we're told today. That one was definitely interesting, and I might have to do a nice little vlog there because now I'm curious. So I have a rabbit hole to go down. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here so I can push another video for you guys, because clearly I've got some research to do, because there are much more spooky places for me to find out and to share with you guys. So with that being said, make sure that you drink your water, mind your business, and stay prayed up and protected. And as always, Luna loves you. I'll be back with another video for you guys if the spirits allow it.
When I give that back, wait, give it right back, did they give it right back? get it, can I sit right back on it, give it right back, baby, yeah, like that,